Okay.
Okay, now we're on. Okay, Guillaume, is that how I pronounce your name?
Well, it's Guillaume.
Say it again.
Guillaume.
Guillaume.
Guillaume, yeah. Well, you have to be French to pronounce it.
Guillaume.
Yeah.
Guillaume. Well, when were you? I didn't know you were in the center. When were you a disciple?
I was a disciple from April 94 to April 2009. So for 15 years, 14 years after you, I think, no? You left in 80?
I was only there yeah, I was only there for 10 years, from 1970 to 1980. So you were there for 15 years. And where
14 years after you left.
So tell me about how you joined the center. How did that happen?
When I had finished my business school study. I had done a bit of military. I was looking for a job. I was not in easy time. I was really feeling lost. I was having something depressed, a bit depressed, but with a bit of, with quite some hope. But life was not really making meaning. I was discovering spirituality. I had this book, the Sogyal Rinpoche book, this version of the Bardo Todol, and I had it for 3 months or something like this, and I read the chapter about the master, and something in me says, oh, that's really what I'm looking for, a master. And next day in Paris, I see a poster about a meditation class, and I was with a friend, and he said, oh, but that's what you're looking for. I think I told him I want to meditate or something. And I didn't have anything to write on me, but the next day I saw the poster again. And, then I went to a meditation class, and everything went very fast. It was meditation week. I was there every day. I gave my photo after a few days. And I started helping in the Divine Enterprise, and I went full on.
Now, I didn't follow. Now, where was this? Where did this take place?
I was living in Paris.
In Paris, okay. And then, so did you know Patricia?
No, I didn't know anyone.
Okay.
I went to a meditation class by Haridas, who was the leader in Paris at this time.
Oh, Haridas I know very well, and and Patricia and Haridas were best friends. So you must have seen Patricia at some point. But Haridas, so you were there when Haridas was there. Haridas was a great guy. I liked Haridas. So did you form a close connection to Haridas?
I had a very close connection with Haridas, but he was, he left the path. He was out like 4 years after I joined.
And so, what was your disciple experience like? I don't know too much about what people in Europe went through. I know some about the Paris Center because I heard a lot from Patricia. And I know that at one point Guru disbanded the entire center for some reason that wasn't very clear. So tell me about your experience as a disciple in Paris.
Well, I was full on. About a year after I became a disciple, I opened a restaurant that I was running for 15 years because I was running it after I left the center. And my experience in the center, well, it was a good one. It was a very heavy one. Everyone is saying that, most of the people, they're saying that when they left, they lost everything, and it was a very difficult time. And for me, it was such a relief. Because carrying the weight of a restaurant in a center that after Haridas left was quite weak. It was like I had so much on my shoulders that leaving was a relief. And so, but my life in the center, I don't know, I have a strange feeling about it. It's like a dot in my life, It's like it was a very long time, 15 years, but it's like a dot, and it's a bit irreal. And I can have positive memory, but it's it's quite neutral.
So what was your connection? Did you have a close connection with Guru, or what was that like?
I think for a disciple who was not living in New York, and who was quite young in the center, I mean, for quite a few years, because there were many much older people in Paris, I had quite a close connection here. I mean, I was getting some direct attention, probably related to the restaurant.
Right. I'm sure he wanted the restaurant to succeed. Now, you were there for 15 years. You say it's only a blip or a little dot, but to me that's a long time. I was there 10 years and it felt like a long time. So there must have been. So what was the reason you hung in for so long? I mean, the restaurant business is very difficult, as you say, and then after a while you kind of wear down. I know what it's like. I had the same experience at the Smile of the Beyond, whereby after a while you start to wear down and get tired and say, am I going to be doing this for the rest of my life? You know, I mean, was that your experience? What kept you there so long?
Yeah, it was my experience. At the same time, I was really, I mean, inside I was a fanatic. Maybe outside the first years, I think outside not after quite a few years. It's like I had segmented my mind, you know, like I segmented my being, like. But with myself, I was a bit of fanatic. So Chinmoy was absolutely everything for me, and I don't think I could have left when he was alive. I left a year and a half after he passed away.
Now, why don't you think you could have left when he was alive?
Because the bond was too strong. Because I had nothing else in my life. I don't know. I don't think I could have escaped. I think it would have get me back.
Right.
You know, I had many times where I had too much, where I was burned out, when I couldn't take it anymore. But I couldn't leave. Then I would go. Then usually I would go to New York.
So, did you have very many spiritual experiences, or what was the glue? What was the connection? I mean, I take it you believe the official line that Guru was the greatest avatar of all time. He was the final incarnation of Vishnu for the next 500,000 years. The Kalki avatar, you know, the much heralded Kalki avatar. I mean, did you buy into all that, or did you have your own understanding?
Well, I was fully into it, and at the same time, I had a distance. Like I was in a group. I had a group of friends who were quite close disciples, you know, including the guy who was doing officially the video, including Shunda, including people like this. And at this time, we had a kind of distance towards manifestation. But so inside, I was believing Guru was everything, you know, avatar and blah, blah, blah. But I was seeing so much things that wouldn't make sense to me, that I was making up to myself explanation, like he's doing that to keep the disciples busy or to keep the manifestors busy or something. But I was not really believing in it. But I was believing in his divinity.
Right, that's what they call the cognitive dissonance, right? We have the belief. I mean, I went through the same thing, and I think most disciples did. You have the belief that Guru is everything he claims to be, the final avatar, and you feel it, and you want to be a part of it, and you're having spiritual experiences, inner experiences, and yet the red flags start popping up in the outer world, and you're saying, why is he doing that? Why is he saying that? And then you make up a story, you justify it. Well, he's keeping the disciples busy. Or, you know, our favorite story was, oh, he's only doing this to teach us a lesson. You know, in other words, to break our egos, or to show us that, you know, his ways are higher than our ways, and stuff like that. Yes. But after a while, if this was your experience, I don't know, I'm asking you, but my experience was like the red flags. I didn't know anything about the sex allegations or anything like that, but just the other stuff, the inconsistencies, the crazy, wacky stuff that was going on, it was just too much for me. So did you get to that point where the red flags, you couldn't really, you know, keep the story consistent, like, oh, his ways are higher than our ways, or he's just trying to break our ego, or whatever?
Yeah, I think the first thing I want to say is I came probably in a very different time than you. I came in '94, which was the disobedience year. You know, like where it was, I think, total obedience for the disciples, the disobedience song and everything. I forgot. So already my first celebration, which were in August '94, the whole thing was already totally insane. You know, so I already had to learn how to shut my mind down. So I think, you know, I put my level of tolerance to insanity very hard. But there was one where, yeah, it was always difficult, but I was blaming on the disciple who were around, the crazy manifestors, the crazy girls, and you know, the girls think circle, but one thing that really, what it really changed for me was after he passed away. So I could tolerate all the craziness when he was alive, but after he passed away, we had things like, you know, some newsletter for disciples saying that, oh, this was the best celebrations ever. And we've been learning, I mean, I've been learning for 15 years that everything is about the connection with the guru and enjoying his physical presence. And then we have disciples saying political stuff because it was nothing else, like you know, it's the celebrations are so great and everything. And for me, it was very different. I was really feeling an emptiness. So that's where I really started, you know, disconnecting from this whole, from the mainstream.
Right. Now and then what? So how did you finally make the break? I mean, I know it's difficult. You were there 15 years. I was there 10. It was even after I decided to leave. It took me 4 years to actually extract myself from the center. How did you make your departure?
Well, there is another story I have to say that's going to explain why it was a very hard time in my disciple life. Because I had a restaurant that I opened in '95 in a decent location downtown Paris that was doing quite good. And it was a very nice restaurant. It was one of the, you know, #1 vegetarian restaurant in Paris. And I got this idea in 2006 or something to move to a better location.
Right.
In another area, in another area of Paris, in the Marais. And Chinmoy approved, and it took me a lot of time to find the right location. He was a bit pushing me for that. I did something absolutely crazy. I sold my restaurant at Les Halles. I borrowed 400,000 euros from the bank, with all the money from selling the restaurant in Les Halles. You know, in the French system, like you have to pay for the lease for what we call fonds de commerce, and it's a lot of money.
Wow.
So I borrowed 400,000 from the bank to get a place where I had 11,000 euros a month of rent and loan payback.
Wait, how much was your rent?
The rent plus the loan payback was 11,000 euros monthly, like, you know, 13,000 US.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
That was already a lot. That was already crazy for him to allow or to advise me to do that, I would say. But then there was two other factors. One is it was just before the crisis, because, you know, the crisis really hit in 2008, 2009.
Yes, I remember that.
The restaurant business went down. And the other thing is, so I did this crazy thing which you'd never do usually. I sell a restaurant, buy one at the same time, because I had to keep the disciples, my team, busy. Started doing the construction of the new place, and then he passes away in the middle of the construction. And you know, it was unexpected. We had no idea what would happen. I had no idea what would happen. I had no idea the disciples would keep.
In other words, it was a bad time. It was a bad time to take Mahasamadhi. He wasn't thinking about you guys when he took Mahasamadhi.
I mean, for me, it was a terrible timing. For me, it was a terrible timing. So then, you know, I was struggling so much with this restaurant. It wouldn't work so well and everything. I got very happy. I was traveling, because how I could bear all those restaurant years is that I was well, the last 6 or 7 years when he was alive, I was traveling 4.5 months a year. I would do the whole Christmas trip for 3 months, and I would go to New York to some trips. So when I was in Paris, I had no life. I was working like crazy, and I really would not go along at all with the Paris disciple. So I had no life in Paris, but my life was when I was with Guru and my disciple friends from all over the world. And I stopped, after he passed away, I stopped having less. You know, the restaurant was struggling, I was having less money, and there was less point for me to go away for such a long time. So then I just got really unhappy, you know, so unhappy. So I did a first attempt in October 2008. I say I left. I was gone for a week. I was getting a phone call from Ashrita, Savisachi. I mean, like, you know, it was like...
Oh, wait.
I think we were trying to keep the restaurant.
Hold on right there. Pause for a second, because you got a call from Ashrita, which I can understand, but I didn't know Savisachi was back in the picture. When I was a disciple, Savisachi was assigned to be Allah's you know, bodyguard and attendant, and keep her eye on her and report every night back to Guru what she was doing. And so now he's back in the day-to-day operation of the center. That's interesting. What tell me about Savisachi.
Well, you know, I think that they're flatmate with Ashrita, and I think after Chinmoy passed away, they were sharing the responsibilities. And we were not close at all, but we always had a good connection. So, you know, it was calling me. And but I think, yeah, well, it's, you know, now it's almost 6 years, but I was there only 1.5 years after Chinmoy passed away. But yeah, I think Savisachi was in charge of quite some things. Yeah.
And so what happened then? So they were calling you to tell you what? To hang in? To stay with the restaurant? Why were they calling you? I think we just lost Guillaume, but we'll give him a chance to come back. Oh, go ahead.
Now I can hear you well.
Okay, go. Yeah, I was asking about, so why were they calling you? Why
so
were they...
I didn't get... can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yeah, you were telling me why Savisachi and Ashrita were calling you. I didn't quite get what they were saying to you.
Well, I didn't get them directly on the phone, but I was getting messages on my mobile phone. And well, I don't remember, you know, but they were telling me, you know, try to touch the emotional chord, and it worked. And you know, people were coming to see me and everything, and after 1 week I was just overwhelmed, because it was you know, it was almost where I had my physical family. I was not really far from them, but it was the whole half family I had, you know, it was my whole life. So I came back after a week, and 6 months later I really prepared it just before the celebration, said I was coming to the celebration, said at the last minute I'm okay but I'm not coming, and then send an email, you know, I'm gone.
And so what happened to the restaurant and all the money that you borrowed?
Well, it didn't end up so well. I lost the money I put inside. Like 20 years ago when I started my first restaurant, this money is lost. I have a few debts, but not too much. No, it didn't end up well. And it keeps, especially the thing, it keeps struggling for years, you know. And ended up as a bankrupt, yeah.
And so what happened then? So
not a very good business advice.
What's that? Say that again. What did you say?
Business advice from the avatar.
Oh, right. Yeah. Not good advice. Not good advice. So, well, I know you're living in Goa now. So tell me what happened. You left the center. How did you get to Goa?
Well, okay, the story is 2.5 years ago. The restaurant was doing okay. not so great, but it was doing okay. I had a business partner. I was not having fun with my life in Paris. I was not having fun with the restaurant. And I wanted to try something else. And I found an agreement with my business partner so I could go to live somewhere else. And well, it took a few steps, but I decided to leave Paris. And as I've been all over Southeast Asia, but I've not been to India. So I decided to come to India and got a very nice first Indian experience. I was living for 3 months in Delhi, which is a horrible city, but I was living only with Indian people, middle class, very open-minded, very educated. And I kind of fell in love with India. But then the city life was so hard that I went to Thailand for a while. Then I came to Goa, which is an easier India, last season for 4 months. And now I've been here since end of October and until April.
Wait, so where will you go from Goa? Where?
I don't know yet. Maybe just do a visa run and come back here, but I'm not sure.
So what is your spiritual life like now? I know what it's like as a disciple, but now what's your spiritual life like after you left the center?
Well, I really turned towards, more towards some healing technique. I was trained as a therapist in a very alternative technique using psychology, psychoanalysis, and spirituality. But well, I mostly went away from the spiritual practice. That's it, me, you know. Well, just 2 hours ago, I was having a talk with someone I just met about quantum physics and how the world is an illusion and how the mind is creating an image, and we're talking about LSD and so it's pretty much in my life, but I don't really have spiritual practice. At the same time, I could at any moment try to get centered again, meditate on my heart, do a quick meditation on my heart or something. But I'm a bit rejecting the spiritual world because I don't think it helped me improve the main issues I had with my life.
Wait, you're saying?
I don't think it made me more happy.
What, the spiritual techniques or spiritual?
Yeah, spiritual life, spiritual techniques. I think it made me more disconnected.
Wow, that's interesting, because the whole idea, obviously, behind spiritual practices is to connect you, right? To make you feel your life has some meaning now and verve and excitement, I guess. But you say it's not doing it for you. It doesn't do it for you.
Well, I don't know. It's hard to say that something you've done for 15 years that is really in you doesn't do it for you. I don't know.
Right.
I probably got something from that. I don't regret those 15 years of meditation. I don't regret my life in the center because it made me what I am today. But at the same time, hello?
Yeah, you know what's happening. I think the connection is going in and out. I'm going to have, before I put this on YouTube, I'm going to have to edit it because there are like stoppages. There are stoppages in there are pauses in our dialogue because we lose the connection. It's not a good connection. But I think we covered a lot of ground. So, like, do you have any? Let's wrap it up. You have any final thoughts? Final words?
I don't know. It looks like it was quite short, but I don't know how long it was.
Well, the problem is we keep getting stopped. You know, there's like glitches. I'm gonna have to edit this to take out the pauses. You know, we're missing the connection. It's kind of difficult. Can you hear me okay? Oh, I think we lost them. We lost Guillaume. I'm going to give him a chance to come back, but unfortunately, as he said earlier, you know, the connection in India, the internet connection is not always good, and there was some glitches. And to be perfectly frank, he was a bit hard to understand because of the connection and a little bit with the accent. So I don't know how this is going to come out. I'm going to have to edit it. Oh, here comes Guillaume again. Okay. Yeah. His mic is muted. Okay, hang on a second. Coming back. Hello, okay, Guillaume.
Yes.
Yeah, the thing is, we keep losing the connection.
Okay, so I guess we have to stop here, yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't we both you make a closing statement, and then I'll make a closing statement, and then I'll go back and play it back. I'm going to have to edit it. And if you can think, you know, so make a closing statement.
Oh my God. Well, I don't know. I can say, I can say that. Well, it's not exactly what we talked about, but I got a lot of amazing spiritual experiences in the center. Absolutely amazing. I just, you know, when I was thinking the past few days and few weeks about the interview, I remember that there was a time when I was all in gratitude, and I was seeing Chinmoy sending lights to everyone, and you know, this kind of amazing stuff. And at the same time, I absolutely don't give a shit about all that, because when I talked to Celia in July 2011 in Paris, Celia was in Paris, and I had a direct testimony from her, and the testimony I had was direct sexual abuse, you know, like, oh, your soul is unhappy with me.
Wait,
okay?
Who was that? Which disciple was
it? Celia.
Oh, yes, I know. Yes, Celia. Okay. Yeah, she had an amazing story to tell. I hope she will be willing to do an interview with me. I know a lot of people don't want to be on YouTube telling their, you know, intimate details, but you know, it's up to her. But like Celia is one of the women who have very, very, very compelling stories, like Bitika. And my wife came forward, and she had a very compelling story to tell too. But other people may not be as, you know, willing to go out there. But anyway, so continue on with that. So you had a very dramatic conversation with Celia.
Well, she just told me her whole story, and I could see really, because I was already in therapy and all this kind of thing. I could really see it was direct sexual abuse. You know, I was trying to use his power to have her having sex with other girls in front of him, and she didn't want to. So this was really sexual abuse.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, you know, that's the thing that got me more than anything else. Is one thing, okay, there's the deception, you know, saying, oh, we must be pure and no sexual activity, then going out and having sex. But at least if it's consensual, or if the girls, I mean, they feel like, well, I better do it because he's the avatar, I can't say no. But at least if there was some kind of, you know, I don't know, benefit for the girls. But so far, I haven't heard one testimony where anyone said they actually enjoyed the sex itself, or they felt better. The point is, I think the point is that there was abuse there, because, you know, a lot of times Chinmoy, Guru Chinmoy, you know, coerced these girls. I mean, you know, Anne didn't want to have sex with him, but, you know, she felt, what choice did she have? I mean, if he wanted to have sex with me, I think when I was a disciple, I don't think I would have said no, because what are you going to do? You know, you think he's the greatest avatar, you're going to do what he says. You know, you obey, you surrender. And then you can go into that thing where, oh, he's just trying to break my ego, you know, that whole thing. So, I don't know. But that's a big turnoff. I know from your posts on the Facebook that's a big a big issue with you, that sexual abuse.
Well, there is much more, but seems we're lacking time and good internet connection. But
Yeah,
I don't think
fortunately,
advice was good.
Yeah, go ahead.
Business advice was terrible. So.
Yeah, I hope this turns out, because there's a lot of good stuff, interesting things that you've said, and we all want to hear from the disciples' experience. But I don't know. I have to play it back and see how the connection is, because it kept breaking up and it's not a good connection. But
okay.
When I come to Goa, we're going to come visit Goa. We'll do another one there, face to face.
Well, if ever you don't have enough material, I could go to some friends in the north who have a good connections.
Well, maybe if this doesn't work out, contact me when you have a better connection. I'm going to play it back before I publish it, and I'm going to edit it, and we'll see how it turns out. I don't know. Anything else? Any final thoughts?
No, that's fine. Thank you, Gary, for doing those interviews.
Well, yeah, hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Guillaume. Thank you. I really appreciate your forthrightness, especially on our little forum on Facebook. You always come out and I know a lot of people take the position, oh, there's a lot of gray area there, there might have been some benefit for the girls, there may have been some consensual. But anyway, you've been very clear. You've been very clear. That's I appreciate your clarity and your firmness and your conviction. I love that. I love that in people. I feel I have it too. Although sometimes I get a little wishy-washy. I go, oh, it's a little gray area. But you're very focused. I like that. It's good. It's a good quality. So thank you. I appreciate you.
And I think I could help. I think I could help the people who are still in confusion.
Well, I think you could too, and that's the whole purpose of, that's part of the purpose of this. It's not just to, gossip and air the dirty laundry. Hopefully there's going to be some benefit that will be derived from, sharing experiences and also being there for people who come out of the center and who want some support. Let's face it, when you leave the center, you don't have anything. Most people have, their whole lives have been completely invested in the center. Now they're in the outer world, and what do? So hopefully we can support them, and I think you would be great in helping other people, especially work through the sexual traumas. Who knows?
Okay. Yeah.
I'm going to recommend you.
Thank you.
I'm going to tell them.
No, and anyway, thank you for your work. Because that's. I had really a tough week. I was really not well, and I really got a lot from the Facebook group.
The Facebook group is great. I love Joe Yogaloy because he not only because he's a great guy, but because he created that group, and I'll tell you that's been a great boon for a lot. I can just tell for a lot of people, even the people who don't post on it, and we call them lurkers, but that I'm not being negative. They want to sit back, but they're benefiting too because they're hearing everybody's stories. I love people's stories. There's the whole thing of you are not your story, and that's true. You are much more than your story. At the same time, your story is very important, and it helps other people, so that's even better. So thank you.
Thank you, Gary.
Okay. All right, we'll talk online. All right.
Okay.
I want to see how this came out. Okay. All right. Thanks. Thank you, Guillaume. All right. Bye-bye. Folded hands.